All right. Hello, good people. How are you? Happy Friday, TGIF. Yes, it is. If not for you, it's definitely for me. Any day above ground, I'm told, is a good day. So, hope you all are doing well. Thank you so much for showing up. Appreciate it. Appreciate your participation. And how are you? You say you've been busy. Nice to see you. I appreciate it, Azula. Also, let's see, we have a guest tonight, and we have Amaadi, and she's from Fit Try Wellness. Her information will be in the description. I've already put it there, and we'll probably be talking about it as well because some people may have some questions where they can find her, and she will tell you herself. And she's such a kind woman. I really enjoyed her. She had been on the show once before, so and she was a pleasure. I mean, she just fit right on in, and that was from the retired show that we were on before. Hey, fitness mom, just DeAndre, appreciate you coming through. And let's see what else I got for you guys. Well, we're going to start off with health or fitness, kind of the same, and we'll have a conversation, and it'll turn into open topic after that. We don't want to just have our guests here and just use and abuse her. That's how I say, especially when you're not getting paid. Because at this time, the channel isn't receiving too much revenue. And hey, it is what it is. We're new. It's coming. Everybody starts off with one at the number one, and then you grow. So that's how that goes. All right. So I will be bringing a guest on. Let me see who's in the back, in the back, in the back. And here's our guest, and that's all we have for right now. Welcome, Amani. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Hear you nice and clearly.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome, and thank you for coming back.
Yeah.
Um, as you see, our crowd is much smaller, but I'm telling you, we enjoyed you. We did
Thank
enjoy
you.
you. So I'm hoping some more people come. When did I put it up? I think I put it up yesterday. I think last night. I think I posted it, and hopefully it's out there in the algorithm. So hopefully someone would people will see it and it's shared on Facebook. So that information is out there. So hopefully we have some more people to come in and have fun with you. Because I'm telling you, we had fun with you.
Yeah, I had fun too.
Let's see what else we got here. Hey, Sister George, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. And Shadra, how are you, Shadra? Hope you have a good shift. I think he works the evenings. And let's see if Classic Ruby. And then we tease her, we say classic Ruby. Let me see if she's back there. Because I'm really bad when it comes for checking this StreamYard. You will be in the and I'll tell you about StreamYard. Um, I'm in their Facebook group, and when they developed this software so we can use it, we're helping them along the way. We give them ideas about what could really help us as content creators. And a lot of us are saying, please get a doorbell or something because if you're not on a computer, you may only just have one, window. So you're just looking at the YouTube screen. You're not necessarily looking at your StreamYard stream. And at least I don't. I'm guilty of that. And people be back there, they call it backstage, and you don't know if they're back there. So I'm like, I really hate that. So they're working on it. They are working on it. So that's a good thing. Let's see, what else? Now Ruby, she'll have some questions to bring up. I have one. Let me see, what did I come up with when it comes down to health? And I think I shared this before, but this is a different crowd, so I'll share it again. I had noticed that for me being in Chicago in our winters, we don't move much. We don't get
Mhm.
outside. Hey, we try to get indoors.
Mhm.
And, we have less activity. So one day, this particular boyfriend I had, he came, it was in February.
Mhm.
And I opened the door for him so he can come in. And he was still on the outside the door. He said, "Oh, you're picking up weight." I
Oh.
said, "Huh? Picking up weight?" And I looked down at myself. I'm like, "These are the same clothes that I wore some months ago. What are you talking about?" And he didn't respond to that part. He just went on to say the second thing that he was going to say, which was, "Don't be like me," because he was picking up weight in the stomach. And
Mhm.
which I have this thing about tummies. I enjoy tummies. I don't know why, but I enjoy men tummies. And I had to think about it. Where did that come from? I don't know if it's because my dad had a tummy. I don't know. But I
Mhm.
like them. I love them. I
Mhm.
like to blow on them just like with a baby. But anyway, maybe that's a little bit too, personal. But
You
anyway,
like to blow on the tummies.
I sure do. I sure do. Rub them and everything. So I had I thought about it. I've always been one, if someone says something, I listen to the information. I can disagree with it, but I will think about it and see if it's true, not true, the line, see what's going on. So I couldn't understand it, and I had told a girlfriend that, and I don't remember what she said. That I do not recall. I don't know what she said, but I do know later on, um, this guy had said, I don't know who it was. He said, "Your girlfriends, they won't tell you." He said, "But a man will." I'm like, okay, that's true, but did the girlfriend actually see that? Is she looking at you like that? Can she really tell? But where I'm going with the story is the fact that he mentioned it to me. He just instantly picked up that he saw that. And so what I had started doing in October, I started changing my diet and I would take less meat out or I would do something different.
Mhm.
And so that way I wouldn't have to worry about anything. And I haven't had that, even though I'm with someone else, I hadn't had that told to me again. And I'm more conscious than anything. Anyway, I can tell if there's any pudge coming.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to mention that. Did you have any thoughts about that as far as the winter time for people?
In terms of getting a little
Eh, Yes,
extra cushion.
yes, more cushion for the pushing. Yes.
Well, it's interesting because I'm listening to an audiobook now called Grain Brain,
Mm,
and he talks about how and I'm kind of giving you the long answer here, but he kind of talks about how our diets, our way of eating has really flipped and changed from our ancestors, and how the ancestors, they used to eat more fat than protein, than very little carbs. And now it's completely switched to a whole bunch of carbs, protein, and then a little bit of fat. Like everybody's afraid of fat. And so I'm saying all of that to say that in the wintertime, almost like bears, we hibernate, we don't go out as much, we don't move as much, but we still are eating at the same, almost at the, if not more, in the wintertime, because we need to keep that body temperature regulated. So we're eating more,
Hmm.
and so the body wasn't designed to eat, first of all, half of the stuff that we're eating, and the amount of stuff that we're eating,
Hmm.
and the time of the day that we're eating it. And um, so yes, I think it is very common that a lot of people experience weight gain in the wintertime because they're eating more. And I don't know if you've noticed, even with yourself, but with me, I've noticed that in the summertime, I don't eat as much and I don't eat as heavy. It's
Yeah.
hotter. We're out, we're moving around more, we're burning more energy. Um, and so in the wintertime, it is common based on our modern day way of eating. So if we were eating how our ancestors were eating, we might not really experience that much of a increase in our weight.
Hmm.
Yeah. So some things that you can do, and I was actually putting this together for content for posting and everything, and putting it in my newsletter. Some ways that you can move without necessarily going to the gym. Just non-traditional places where you can kind of get it in, just to kind of prevent the weight gain in the
Uh-huh.
wintertime in particular. And one of those places is the grocery store, believe it or not. And I've created this list kind of off the top of my head. I try to challenge myself to see what I can come up with just off of the fly before I start doing, research and, all that kind of stuff. And one of the ways you can work out in the grocery store, you can do lunges going down the aisle or squats going down the aisle. Um, I mean, you can, while you're looking, I mean, people probably look at you like you're crazy. So it depends on whether or not you care how people see you.
Uh-huh.
When you're in the produce section, you can, on the ledge, on one of the ledges, you can do push
Hmm.
ups. You can do push-ups. I mean, you just have to really be creative. In the doctor's office, you can do dips. If you can do dips off of the chair that you're sitting in, you can sit in a chair and lift one knee, alternate, lift the other knee, lift the other knee. You can do it at a playground. You can do it at a park. You can do it in your home. I mean, you don't necessarily have to, go get a gym membership and get all the gear, and the stars
Hmm.
have to be aligned, and have to have cars. A lot of people just make way too much fuss in the preparation process when all they got to do is just do the work. That's my new motto: just do the work.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do the work. I like that.
Yep.
Well, I have to agree with you. And it is work. We've become a lazy people because all we do is push buttons. It's whatever you want. You can order something, push a button. You have to actually get in your car or get on public transportation and actually go get that item. You really don't.
Mhm.
Even groceries now, you can
Yeah.
actually push a button for that as well.
Right.
And it has affected us a lot because
Yeah.
I'm even, I really don't even, I enjoy the job that I have. I mostly do customer service, which means I have to sit down and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a catch 22. You earning, you're living, but the only other options I have when it comes to that, which I use, is the stretching techniques. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not able to use the ball, the fitness ball there, but I am able to stretch and do different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've even gone as far as taking the bands, the stretch bands with me, and
Mm-hmm.
just to do biceps curls and stuff like that. So you have to kind of find a way to work around your situation and do the darn thing. You gotta, we can't have the excuses because they're not working. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not productive at all just to talk about it and do nothing.
Right. I mean, and there's so many new pieces of equipment that are coming out. I mean, every month. I mean, one of my
Mhm.
clients, they bought what is it? Inflatable dumbbells. I'm like, what?
Wow,
Because
really?
they travel, it's a couple. They're actually 80 and they travel like every month, and I trained both of them. And they told me they ordered these inflatable dumbbells from Amazon. And I said, well, describe this to me. I've never heard of this before. And they
Yeah.
basically, there's a bar, there's a plastic bar, hard plastic, and then the quote unquote plates that go on either side of the bar, they fill up with water, and then
Mm.
they put it on either side of the stick. And so they can actually do bicep curls and tricep extensions and deadlifts. They can do all kinds of things. And then, when it's time to travel and pack up, they, remove the water and let it dry out, and then, fold it up and put it away in their luggage. I was like, wow, I would have never thought of that.
Wow, okay. I
And
know
they
they had something. Oh, I'm
and they
sorry. Go
said
ahead.
it's okay. I'm sorry. I was gonna say, and they said that it was, relatively, affordable.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
anybody looking to do some bicep curls while they're in Paris without having to go to a gym, look on Amazon for, I mean, I'm not sure the correct name or the company name, but
Uh-huh.
inflatable dumbbells. Check it out.
Okay. Make sure you put that on your for your social media too, because
Okay.
that's new information and some people may not know about it. And you put it out there that will help your clients and everything. And while we have a few more eyeballs before Ruby joins the conversation, could you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience so they can know more about you, whatever you like to share?
Sure. My name is D. Amaadi Coleman, and I am owner of Fit Tribe Wellness and Fit Tribe Gear. I am a simple woman that makes other women look good and feel good. And what does that mean? So I'm a certified personal trainer, and I'm a nutrition coach. And I just want women of color in particular to be as healthy and strong as possible in every part of their life. And so that's what I've dedicated my life to doing in different ways. And more recently, I've started a training that specializes in what I guess I would be specializing in diastasis recti healing. And I've talked to a lot of women, a lot of mothers. Now, we're all born with the diastasis. And I think I talked about this in the first time I was on your show. We're
Hmm.
all born with the diastasis. So it can occur in children, it can occur in men, it can occur, happen. Women can have it who don't have children, but my focus is moms postpartum. And so it's basically the separation of the front ab muscles, and the connective tissue that holds these two muscles together are stretched out. And so the focus is to heal, naturally heal the connective tissue and to bring those muscles back together. And why is this important? Because after you have a baby, sometimes women find that they have this little mommy pouch, the mommy tummy. And so
Hmm.
they want to get their waist snatched. They want that pre-baby body back. And they might have some symptoms that go along with the diastasis, and they don't even know. And one of those symptoms is lower back pain. The core is really, really weak at this point, and so they're experiencing lower back pain, and the back is a part of the core. Another symptom, constipation and bloating, is another issue. When your organs are not supported by that connective tissue, the organs are pushing forward, which is also contributing to the mommy pouch. And so when your organs are not in its natural place, physical place, that's now pushed forward, you're going to have gastrointestinal issues. Another, you might have pelvic floor issues. You might have some incontinence. What does that mean? When you're jumping up and down, maybe jump roping or hopping, or you might laugh too much and a little bit of pee might come out. Now, this might be embarrassing for some people, but it's real. It's real life, and it happens to women, and we need to have conversations about this if we're going to heal from it. So that's another, symptom of having a diastasis. Another symptom, poor posture and poor breathing. So my
Mm.
focus will be to help heal moms of color with this condition naturally. And so I've started that training, and I'll be done with the training by the end of March. And then I'm a leggings addict. I just love leggings. I'm in leggings all the time for work, and it's just so comfortable. And so I search high and low for like really unique looking leggings. I want to stand out, but I don't want them to be too expensive when I buy them. I don't want them to look too dull. I want them to be comfortable. I care about the high waist because I am a mom of three, and I have a little something something right there. And I couldn't find anything. So I decided
Okay.
to create my own line of leggings, tote bags, and shirts. And so you can find that at fittribegear.com. All the health and wellness information you can find at fittribewellness.com. So I have Fit Tribe Gear and I have Fit Tribe Wellness. And I'm also on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think that's it.
All right. And I do have your information inside the description area. So that's taken care of.
Cool.
If you guys have any questions, just ask in the chat room. And welcome to the stream, Classic Ruby, aka Classy Ruby.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to see you again, Diamati. It's been a while, but definitely I used a lot of your advice from the last show. You are absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you. Great to see you or hear from you again.
Right? And I did. The crazy thing is, wasn't that long ago. I was saying to Shar, like, oh man, after the fact, because I didn't know you were coming the last time. I'm like, man, I wish I had known. I would have prepared. I have so many questions I could ask. Like, I
Oh,
could amass so many questions from people because I mean, health especially is such a big concern for women, especially our women these days. So it's amazing that you have come back to help us today.
oh, well, thank you for having me. I look forward to answering any questions you or anyone in the audience has.
Well, I do have a question actually that I did get some questions along the way from people who were a little shy and didn't want to necessarily pose their own question, but wanted me to still ask their question.
Okay.
So I will give you the rundown of this one situation that I got because I think that it is actually a big concern and something I've spoken to other people about as well. Um, Now, this one woman, she is in her mid to late 30s. And about 7 years ago, she started growing facial hair.
Mm,
And not a little bit. Like, I mean, we ladies, we got a mustache, we need a wax, but like real thick male facial hair, you got to shape it every day. You got a 5 o'clock shadow.
mm,
So at first, they went and they tested her hormone levels and her estrogen and testosterone, androgens, everything were normal. Just last year, she went and she had herself tested. They tested her to see if she was in early menopause, maybe, or somewhere along those lines, and she wasn't. So it seems like it's got to be a hormonal thing, but I guess her baseline levels are normal. So then she's wondering, okay, is it something she's doing? Is it something she's eating? So she wanted to know if you have any advice for that about what maybe she could eat or what she could do with her, exercise. Is there something she can do basically to make the situation better? Because their answer was basically electrolysis or waxing or shaving. That was it.
okay. Well, I would have a couple questions. And again, I'm not a doctor, just as a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. But I do a lot of research and I'll try to answer the questions as best as I can.
Hmm.
Well, is she working out? Is she lifting weights? Do you know?
She's not working out.
Okay.
She's one of those people, we like to call ourselves skinny fat.
Okay.
So we're not big, but like we have zero muscle tone either. One of
Okay.
those. Yeah.
All right. So the reason I asked that is because when women lift weights, it actually increases the level of testosterone in the body. So that was why I was asking that. Okay, so that's out. It could be if her hormone levels, because that's where I was going to go first. But you said that those are all in check. Um, if her hormone levels are in check and she's not lifting a ton of weights, and she, of course, I don't want to say of course, but I'm assuming she's not taking steroids. It could either be genetic or it could be the food that she's eating.
Right. Okay.
So I would say maybe she should talk to family members to see if this is a genetic trait that she has acquired. In terms of food, maybe she should be eating more. And see, I don't know. Do you know what her way of eating is like? Do you know if she's eating highly processed foods or if she's eating a bit more clean? Do you know?
I mean, she likes the junk food. She eats the junk food. Her meals are pretty clean, but her snacks are not. Let's put it
Okay.
that way. Yeah.
So, what I would recommend, and this is just like a very broad brush response because I don't have a whole lot of detail about the way that she's eating, but I would just say if she could increase her raw food intake and decrease her sugar and highly refined processed food intake. And what does that mean? That means like anything white rice, white potato, white bread, white sugar. I would eliminate all of that and replace it with more healthy options. And I
Right.
would say maybe what state does she live in?
She lives in Canada, actually. So she lives in Toronto, Canada. Well, Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Okay. And the reason I ask that is because I don't necessarily recommend raw if someone's living in a more colder climate. I know there are lots of people that are like raw, or vegan, or vegetarian. But we have all these different camps. But a lot of people fail to take into consideration the land that the person is living on, and the
Right.
climate, and the temperature, and the food that's actually available. So, if the climate is extremely cold, raw is definitely possible, but it might not be ideal. I would also tell her maybe to increase her omega 3s, and kind
Okay.
of cut back on the omega 6s, and she has to just do her own research with that. And I also wanted to mention again, this book is just so phenomenal. It just touches on so many things that everyday people eat, and don't necessarily associate it with any of the symptoms that they may be experiencing. And this book is called Grain Brain, like whole
Oh.
grains. It's called Grain Brain, and and so I don't have a lot of time to sit and hold the book, even though I'm a traditionalist when it comes to reading, and I want to hold it and look at it and underline it. But I'm listening to it it's an audio book, and one of the things that this author talks about is that a lot of us are not getting enough fat that might also be contributing to an imbalance. Whenever there's an imbalance, there's inflammation. And whenever there's inflammation, it shows up in so many different ways. And maybe this is one of those ways. Now, inflammation doesn't necessarily equate to pain. It could equate to pimples. It could equate to extra facial hair. It could equate to some kind of body odor. It could equate to, you know, um, you know, all kinds of things, not necessarily just pain. So I would just tell her to check her diet and see what happens. Maybe more green juices and more green leafies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a good plan. I will definitely let her know because I do know that she has like a pathological fear of most things that look like really, really healthy. She sticks to the really like well known and basic, mostly fruits, not a lot of vegetables. So that's
Mhm.
probably
Mhm.
lacking.
Oh, yeah. So tell her to increase her anything that's green has chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is really, really good for the body.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I will definitely let her know.
Great, great, great. Good
Let's
Wow.
question.
see.
I just
Mhm.
put the book title in the chat room, and I was just reading it, and I'm like, wow, I bet you
Yeah.
that book has a lot of information because
Yes.
it's talking about your brain's silent killers. I said, oh boy.
Yes. Now, let me
Mhm.
tell you, this book, Grain Brain, I mean, it's, it's like so the whole premise of this book is we're eating too many carbs and gluten. Um, he talks a lot about gluten and gluten sensitivity, which is different from celiac
Hmm.
disease. Celiac
Mhm.
disease is like 5%. Gluten uh, intolerance among the human population is far larger. We're talking like, I don't know, over 50%. It's some crazy number. I'm like, what? And he talks about how from headaches to bloating to Alzheimer's to diabetes to like, all kinds of things that you wouldn't think gluten would have a role in. It's
Hmm.
amazing.
Mhm.
It's a very easy read. It's just, I mean, he backs this stuff up with published studies, and he's a doctor himself, and it's really good, really really good.
Oh, wow.
I'm really excited
50%.
about it. I am excited about reading this book. I got this just information from Amazon, and I'm gonna get the Kindle version because I do have some Kindle credit. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then I know me, I want to get the book in my hand, so I'm gonna check it out at the library as well.
Cool.
Mm,
That'd be
nice.
great.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he also talks about um, how fat is like this big. There's this big scare about fat, um, and how people they're going on these low fat diets
Hmm.
because they equate eating fat as with becoming fat. And he said, no, it actually has nothing to do with the other. He said, you need healthy fats. In fact, our ancestors ate more fat than they did protein and carbs.
Mhm.
And so now we've switched it. And so one of the parts that I listened to today, he's comparing the USDA. You know how like back in the 80s you had the pyramid, so you got to eat this much grain, this much dairy, this much protein. So they've recently changed it to my plate, right? So it used to be called pyramid, now it's called my plate. And I'm familiar with my plate, but I somehow missed what he pointed out, that they don't even have a fat section on my plate. So they're basically suggesting that you don't eat a lot of fat, which is a problem because you need fat. You need, and I know some people don't like olives, but there's olives, there's coconut, there's nuts, there's avocado. There's so many healthy fats that the body needs for so many different functions to happen. And one of those functions is for the brain to function
Mm.
No, there,
properly.
it's not just a suggestion, though. It's a literal statement of fact. That is a massive marketing tool that's still present today. Zero fat, low fat, no fat, right?
Right.
I mean, not only is it horrible because in order to give something flavor, it must have fat. So they have to replace the fat they took out with
Mhm.
sugar and salt, which is so
Yep.
much better.
Yep.
Um, but it's bullshit because it's based on literally faulty research that was conducted and then spread how many decades ago about that fat was the thing that was causing heart disease
Right.
and causing everything.
Right.
And so you take out fat and it's going to make everyone better. And then the government committed to that and
And
put
now
their
everybody's
investments in
worse.
sugar. Right, exactly.
Everybody's worse. You know?
And once they figured out that all the research is bullshit, well, the government's already invested billions into sugar, basically. So what are they supposed to do now? Turn around and be like, "Sorry, we were wrong, and the thing that we now own is killing you"? No, 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 no. They're gonna let it keep going,
Yep.
right? So,
Right.
Yep. And back to what your first question, Shar, about weight gain in the wintertime.
Hmm.
Healthy fats. What was I gonna say? Healthy fats actually help prevent that. He talks about
mm,
that in the book. This book is the bomb. Like, like I wish I could. You know how I wish I could. What that scene in Matrix where there's like a download and he's like shaking and then all of a sudden he knows like Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu. Like I wish I could just download this book in my head and just have it committed word for word. Like this is so much good, rich information. I'm a mess. I'm
Wow.
sorry. I'm a hot mess tonight.
Mhm.
Keep on, girl. Keep on. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm headed out to go get me some guacamole tomorrow. Now, I was laughing because
Mhm.
I was watching you on your video. You made the avocado sandwich,
Mm-hmm.
and you bit in. You were like, and I was just thinking, like, I enjoy guacamole, but I don't know if I want that much. But she looks so happy eating it.
But she looks so happy.
Let me tell you, I was so miserable that morning, and I don't even know
Really?
why. Yeah, I don't know what bothered me more, being feeling like that or not knowing why I felt like that. But I was like, I'm going to eat, but I'm going to eat what I have here on the counter. And I had some ripe avocado. I was like, okay, I can't let this moment pass. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just do a video. I don't even know if I'm gonna post it. I'm like feeling all blah and like, woe is me kind of thing. And I took a bite into that sandwich. I was like, all righty now. I
Mhm.
won the lottery or something. It was great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, then I gotta check this out because I don't know. I mean, I love avocado. I've always loved avocado and guacamole, but I actually like avocado by itself. In
Mhm.
Jamaica, they call it pear.
Right.
Um, and when I met some Dominicans, I figured out they literally they cut up whole avocados, they slice them and put a little bit of salt and pepper on them and eat them on the side of their like meal. Like you would eat like broccoli or whatever, they eat avocado like that. And I tasted that the first time and I was sold on that too. I didn't realize why I loved avocado so much, but now I'm listening to you and I'm like, I think that's true. Every time I eat avocado, guacamole, I'm always happier. Like after the first bite, I am literally happier inside. And I
Yes.
thought it's just because I love the flavor. But now I'm wondering, like, is there a thing about all those delicious, healthy fats that are in there that just perks you right up?
I'm telling you, healthy fats make the world go round. Now, what Shar was saying, I use the whole avocado because I have a wonderful relationship with different fruits and veggies. And my relationship with avocado is if I'm going to open it, I need to eat the whole thing because you can, cut it
Hmm.
halfway and then save the other half. And when you come back, the top is kind of oxidized, and so I have to scrape off the black part and cause I'm a little bougie. Scrape off the black part. And I don't want to do that. I want the whole thing. I want the whole thing. So yeah, Char, I put that whole avocado on two pieces of bread and it looked chunky and I did not care. But I put a whole lot of spinach on it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I put two little slices of tomato. I'm like, yeah, okay, but let me get you know, balance it
Hey
with some
now.
spinach. That's why I made that face when I did the video.
I would like to say that, you know what, I have a little tip for that.
Mhm.
So if you're only going to use half of the avocado at a time, which by the way, this is such a millennial thing, this avocado toast thing, like millennials are all
Yes,
for.
it
They go
is.
and pay a lot of money for avocado
Yes,
toast.
yes,
Like I didn't even know, but
right.
you can literally if you put some lemon on it, it stops it from oxidizing. Right
Well,
now,
yeah. Go ahead. I'm listening. I don't want to
I
cut
would say like now that's not going to be like a savior over 15 days or so, but it's but if it's like from one morning to the next, you do, or from morning to night, you don't want to eat the whole thing. If you get a bigger one or something, a little bit of lemon juice goes a long way towards it. At least it doesn't go black. It doesn't stay bright green, but
it.
you won't be like, ew, that's not edible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's a little
Yeah.
better.
Maybe I'm just greedy. Maybe I'm just like,
There's that too.
right. Maybe I'm just greedy.
Hmm.
Yeah. So plus I had two perfectly ripe avocados. It was almost like a
Mm.
lunar eclipse kind of moment where I just had to, it's a one, it's like sometimes you get avocados and they're like extremely hard or they're extremely soft, and both of these were perfect. So I was like, I need to
Hmm.
just eat this whole one so I can eat the next one, the whole one, you
See,
know.
that's the thing though too, is that avocados stay perfectly ripe for like 35 minutes. That's
Right.
it. Like that's all you got. So you better use them while you can, because after that,
Right.
it's like they're too hard, too hard, too hard. Ripe for a day, rotten. Like
Right.
there's no in between.
And trust me, those ones that were like on the like 37th minute, oh, I just scraped out the part that didn't smell good and that were really, was really brown, and I used the flesh that looked edible.
Mhm.
I don't always throw the whole thing away. I don't know, my relationship.
Well, the worst part is, right? So you live somewhere cold. Your avocados are often shipped to you from somewhere else, and I live somewhere cold. The problem is that more often than not, they are not shipping them properly. That is to say, you can't put avocados into the cold. Those little clear, easy to eat little fibers they got inside of them turn literally rock solid and disgusting. They're like, it turns into like these spindles, and they're gross. If you freeze them or like put them in the fridge for a long time and then cut them. But what happens is, to ship them, they'll often just throw them onto a truck that is a refrigeration truck. So by the time we get them, they're rock solid. You don't know. And so you put them on your counter, and then you go to cut them open, and they've got those spindles. Like,
Yeah.
oh, mm,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
terrible. It's so terrible. Like, if you live somewhere warm, oh my God, just love them. Love them. Just eat
Yeah,
them.
it's true. Very true. Very,
Because
very.
it's a different experience. It really is. When I went to North Carolina just recently to visit my family, and I was able to get some fresh avocados that weren't put in a shipping truck and whatever. And I was like, oh, this is why I love them. I
Mhm.
forgot that I don't have to
Right.
be scared. Like
Right.
because here I'm scared every time I cut into an avocado. It doesn't matter how much I paid for it,
Don't be
where they claim
scared.
it's from. I gotta be scared, man. Those things are just. Oh, and then if they start going a little bit bad, then those spindle things are dark. I'm telling you, it's a traumatic experience. Like if you live somewhere warm, eat those
Yeah.
avocados. They are so beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, there are a couple of people that don't like avocado. I cannot relate to them. But if there's some way, like I've met people, they don't like avocado, but they like guacamole.
Right.
Like, that's the base of the guacamole, right? You just add a couple extra ingredients.
Well, I
Hmm.
can speak on that.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm the
sorry.
weirdo. I am the weirdo
You're
that did
one of
not.
those. Okay.
Yes, I did not want an avocado. I looked at that thing. I'm like, it is just too green. I'm sorry, I just can't do it.
What?
And then I went on and plunged and tried guacamole. I'm like, I like this.
Hmm.
And then my friend laughed at me and said, "You're just crazy. Why would you have a problem with the avocado and the guacamole? Because I did have a problem with it because it was just too green." And she said, "I don't know what's wrong with you." I said, "I don't either, but I'm going to try." So I tried the guacamole and I've been eating it ever since.
Oh, great. Woo!
There you go.
For those people out there that don't like avocado, I'm about to get on my avocado soapbox. The secret, I'm going to give you the secret. So you listen carefully here, okay? It's top secret rocket science information I'm about to drop. The secret to liking avocados is salt and pepper. Did you get
Hmm.
that?
Mm,
See, just like the Dominicans, salt and pepper. They
I
put it.
mean, yeah, if you want to get fancy, you could add some lemon juice. You can add some garlic powder. Sometimes we add Old Bay seasoning. Sometimes we chop up a tomato. That's if we got time for all of that. But sometimes my sister's hungry, and sometimes I don't even do the salt and pepper. But the secret, if you're
okay.
trying to convert your life,
Right.
salt and pepper.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny, like I said, because I was born and raised on eating it raw, right? Like I said, like I've watched people my whole life cut into them and take slices, like just walk around with it and take slices of it and eat it off the knife, right? So for me, that wasn't a thing, but I didn't even know people did stuff like that. But I think a lot of people don't understand that you can spice raw vegetables and raw, well, some fruits go well with spicing, but I don't think people understand that you can use spices on things. They think that spices go into cooked foods, and
Mhm.
while you're cooking, and they don't understand, yeah, a little salt, little pepper, a little oregano, something like that can really take that raw vegetable that you don't really want to be eating raw and, elevate it a little bit. And,
Mhm.
suddenly it brings out extra flavors you didn't realize were there, kills flavors you didn't really like. And it's like, oh, that's actually a good thing.
Yep. I completely agree with that. Completely. I'll tell people, for example, smoothies. I'm a smoothie queen. I need to trademark that. I'm a smoothie queen. And when I give, so I'm not really good. Well, let me say, I could be better with recipes. And I have been, because I've been posting a lot over the past couple of months, different recipes for the smoothies that I make for me and my children. Because normally I just dump. I don't do the measuring. I don't pre-plan it. Whatever I have at that moment is what I decide I'm going to use. And sometimes I'm like, you might want to add a pinch of salt, or you might want to add some nutmeg, or you might want to add MCT oil, or you might want to add cinnamon, or something, a little bit of vanilla extract or whatever, something that would not normally be thought of to be included in the smoothie. And they kind of look at me like, what? And I'm like, just try it. And they try it and they love it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm just piggybacking off of what you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I wish people would be a little bit more adventurous with food. I think that they were taught like in this box, whatever kind of cuisine box they were taught in, and they don't understand that they can step out of it, try stuff maybe that, their parents didn't teach them, or just because it's not in some recipe. Like, there's a lot of ideas I come up with, and then I'm like, let me Google it and see if someone else tried it. Right, because I want to be sure it's not going to be horrible, but,
Right.
but still, it's like, just try stuff, try a little piece of that thing, and sprinkle a little bit of what you want on it, and just see if it goes well. You might be
Right.
surprised.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Spot on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a question for you now. This is a question for me. Um, because I have had this issue since I was 30, I would say 32, 33. Now, I did not have acne. I didn't have teenage acne at all. And then suddenly, out of the blue, one day at about 32, 33, I suddenly had a massive acne issue from the top of my forehead to the bottom of my face,
Oh,
including underneath my chin. It was cystic acne, it was pustules, it was the whole nine. And of course, I'm light skinned and I get those dark black marks on my skin, that kind of thing. Now, I've
mm,
had my hormones tested on every level. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm not in any kind of imbalance. And the only thing that keeps my acne in check, like, I have to be constantly using benzocaine and acids and whatever. If I'm not constantly using them, if I just try to go in just a wash your face and cleanse, moisturize kind of way,
mhm.
it doesn't work out. And this is a massive concern for me because, I would like to get pregnant sometime in my future, but without the retin-A and the this acid and the this antibiotic and whatever, constantly my face will break right back out to where it started, where it's everywhere. So what is it? Is it what can I do? Is it something? I mean, it seems like it must be an internal thing. It doesn't seem to be environmental. I've moved. It gets a little bit better for a bit, but not really. Like, what am I doing wrong? What can I do to fix this?
All right. So, I was going to ask, and you answered it already about your hormones because you're in your early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually starting to do some research. I'm actually might even like do a workshop or a class or something on hormones with women once they
Mm-hmm.
hit a certain age, because I've kind of noticed that too with myself. I don't necessarily have acne, like a issue with acne, but I noticed that if I do get a pimple, it takes a lot longer for it to go away.
Mm.
So what I would ask you is, what's your diet like? What are your eating habits like? And I don't want you to tell me, yes, I have a salad and I drink lots of water. I want you to tell me the stuff that you're not supposed to eat that you eat anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, I was gonna say, I mean, I drink a massive amount of water, but to be honest, I'm gonna say most of that's canceled out because I'm extremely dehydrated because of medications. But I eat, like, I'm a lot like my friend. My meals are very, very, very clean. But the problem is that when I eat just like normal people are supposed to eat, I drop weight very rapidly because of my health issues. So I needed to find fast ways of putting calories in that don't take up too much room, which means I eat very high calorie dense things. Specifically, right now, I eat Reese's peanut butter cups because at least there's some protein and iron on top of the added calories. And well, ketchup chips, which you don't have those there, but yeah, and that's again because of the calories plus the salt, which I need the additional salt because my blood pressure is really low and they tell me I need to eat additional salt. So I figured, well, okay, I can get the extra calories and the extra salt. And actually there's a little bit of protein and iron in there too. But really it's those are the two things that I eat that are absolutely terrible. And I do eat I'll say a fair amount of them. Like I'll eat a bag of chips and a couple of those chocolates a day just to get the added calories and they don't take up too much space in my stomach, which can't handle a lot of stuff in it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do you eat dairy?
On and off, on and off. Most of the dairy that I eat, like I love cheese, and so I'll go through cheese spurts. But other than that, I'll say regularly, the one thing I eat is yogurt.
All right. So the issue that I'm hearing is, first of all, it could be your medications. I think that might be part of it. I'm not sure. I don't know what medications that you're taking that might contribute, not necessarily be the cause, but it might contribute. So we take medications because the doctor says we have some kind of imbalance and you need to take these medications to undo the imbalance. But a lot of times the medications, they may undo the imbalance but cause other imbalances. So let's put that to the side. Now, you're eating Reese's peanut butter cups. Now I want some chocolate. Thank you. So that is sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And sugar can definitely cause pimples. It can cause acne. So there's that. And then you're eating chips. That's sodium. That's salt. So if so, I would say it's a combination of things. I would say it's a combination of the salt, the sugar. How much do you weigh?
I am middling around 125 to 130.
All right. And how many ounces of water do you think you drink in a day?
Okay, so you know like those like a bottle of water that you buy in cases of water?
Yeah.
I go through a case of water every 2 days. So that's like about 12 bottles of water a day.
And each bottle is like 16.7.
Hold on, let me read it because I don't know. Nothing. We don't measure things in ounces.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see if I can see a number on here that tells you it's like 500 milliliters. Let me look up what that means. Milliliters to ounces. Okay, so 500 is going to be 16 ounces. So 16
Yeah.
ounces times 12.
All right. So 16 ounces, I have my calculator, times 12. I save women's lives. I'm not a mathematician. All right. So that's 192 ounces. All right. So hold that for a second. So you're 125. I'm going to divide that in half. I'm just doing the math here. So you're actually overhydrated.
But it's because all of the medications that I take, almost all of them, one of the side effects is dehydration. So, like, I take an opioid, I take a nerve pain blocker, an anti-inflammatory, muscle relaxant, and then the one that I don't take, that out of all those things, is a proton pump inhibitor.
Okay.
So, yeah, so those are my medications. So I think 3 of them cause pretty massive dehydration. So if
Yeah.
I'm not drinking a lot of water, I get severely constipated. Like, you know, my mouth gets dry, my throat gets dry, and everything gets dry. Everything stops working quite so well. So I have to take in a lot of water to kind of keep on top of it.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask, how much raw food are you eating?
Not much. I will say cold food. I eat a lot of cold food. Raw foods. I will like I eat spinach salads, so I eat a lot of raw spinach. sometimes also the avocado. But yeah, no, honestly, most of what I'm eating is cooked. Even like most of my vegetables, I eat a lot of vegetables, but they're cooked.
Okay, so you're saying that your stomach can't handle a lot of food or a lot of you said you say that part again about your stomach.
Okay, so like my stomach, I don't digest so many different things well. I don't handle so many different things well, and I don't handle a large amount of foods very well, and I digest very slowly. I have gastroparesis, and I also have gastritis. So it's like I have to be really careful with what I put into my stomach, and then how much I can put in my stomach on at any given time, what time I eat. So like I can't eat for most of the day or make myself really sick. I can only really eat normally around at nighttime is when it doesn't make me sick. And then you know what I mean? So it's like everything is so picky. So it's not like I want to necessarily be on this ridiculous diet. But at the same time, it's like about trying to find things that I can put into my body at all that have calories or that have some type of function to them throughout the
Mhm.
day and at various times.
So because you have a lot of gastrointestinal issues, I would say to stay away from the broccolis, the onions, the cauliflowers.
Onion. Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I think I believe onion makes you gassy. It can make you gassy.
Oh,
Um, but research that. Don't take my word for it. Research everything for yourself.
of course.
This is just based on um my journey and my research. I mean, I've been researching food for 20 years, and
Mm,
as a pregnant woman, as a non-pregnant woman,
right.
so um I would say that you should probably up your raw food intake. And why would I say that? Because number one, there's a higher water content in raw food. So
Mm,
you don't necessarily have to drink all of your water. You can
mm,
you can eat some of it. That's one thing.
mm,
And raw foods, vegetables in general, fruits and vegetables, they have very low calorie amounts.
mm-hmm.
And I know that you need heaviness, and I'm not sure like what to suggest about that part, but in terms of like the constipation and the dehydration, definitely raw veggies, green leafy vegetables are amazing. If you can't chew it, then you might want to make it into a smoothie. Like I put spinach, I put kale, depending on what leafy green I have in the house. I will not do mustard greens in my smoothies. I learned that the hard way. But any lettuce, anything like if you don't want to chew it or if you feel like that might upset your stomach, you can always do it in a smoothie, or you can always juice. You can do green juices, green. I think will help you a lot with the
Yeah.
acne. It'll help with the intestinal issues that you have. And I
Do you
do.
think the intestinal issues are connected to the face, like to the acne issues?
So, all right. So, great question, which is a great segue. There's an audio book that I'm listening to also. It's called The Second Brain. The
Mm,
second brain is all about your stomach and the gut. And
mm,
there are studies, they did studies on dogs where they clipped, this is like all like scientific stuff. And I had no idea when I got this audiobook how scientific it was going to be. Like they're saying words that I've never heard before and I can't repeat. But they did a study on dogs, and basically when they like cut off certain vessels or whatever, the stomach still digested. Like so they realized that the stomach is the intestines. There is the only part of the body that does not need the brain to send neurological messages to in order for it to do its job.
mm,
The heart needs the brain to send it messages. The lungs, the pancreas, everything, the gallbladder, the lung, the everything except your digestive tract. Your digestive tract has its own like neurological makeup, and
right.
so it's literally the second brain of the body.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know how heavy you can tolerate the science in certain books, but you should read that. You should read or at least get the audio book. It's called The Second Brain.
I'm definitely going to look that up because I did not know that. I think that's sad that I didn't know that. Out of all the things I do know, because I've done so much research on the gastrointestinal system, because it causes me so much grief for the
Mm,
last decade, and I didn't know that. That is wow. Okay, thank you.
yeah, I mean, I didn't finish it. But I was just like, oh my gosh, a lot of the things. It's like that Grain Brain book and this second Brain book. It's like I just my mouth was just open half the time I'm listening to this information. So yeah, you should check that book out.
I have a question. So you said, if you don't make a smoothie, you can juice. Which one's better, the juicing or the smoothies? Because I hear a lot of people go back and forth about that one.
I do too, and I would say it depends. My partner, he always says, just answer the question. And it's like, I want to give the best answer that I possibly can for that particular person's circumstance. And everybody is different. So I can't give cookie cutter answers. So that's why I'm always giving these long-winded answers. So I'm sorry, forgive me. But all right.
I love them. Don't
Love
worry.
them.
Okay.
Yep.
Love them.
So, so for me in particular, depending on how cold it is outside, so everything is one. The environment, humans, nature, temperature, this everything is one. I don't even want to say connected because if I say connected, that implies there's a disconnect somewhere. So we're one. And so I just like if it's cold outside, we're gonna wear a jacket, right? So I look outside or I check the weather. Sometimes they wrong, but wintertime. So I tend to do smoothies when it's a bit on the colder side because it's a bit heavier. When it's a bit warmer, I tend to do the juices. Now,
Right.
the difference between juices and smoothies, it includes the pulp of whatever the food you're putting in. If it's an orange or if it's an apple, if it's a cucumber, if it's spinach, it's all getting pulverized and mixed up into one big vat. With juicing, you're going to juice the cucumber or the spinach or the celery or the carrot or the orange, and you're going to have two openings. One side is going to come out with juice, and the other side is going to come out with the pulp of the juice. So basically, you have processed whatever it is you juiced. You have literally processed it and removed the fiber from, or the meat, the fiber from the actual juice. Now, let's take another difference. So the juice does not have the pulp or the fiber, which is really good for the intestinal system.
Mhm.
The smoothies do, and they're a bit thicker.
Mhm.
Um, with juices, when you drink fresh juice, it hits your blood system, your bloodstream, a lot quicker, a
Mhm.
lot quicker. The smoothies, on the other hand, not so quick.
Mhm.
Back to the
Mm-hmm.
juices. Juices tend to not have as much protein. Now, everything that grows from the ground, provided that it's, rich soil and, all that kind of stuff, everything that grows, a lot of people don't realize this, has protein. It just might not be a significant amount of protein, but an orange has 8% protein. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have as much, the potential for juice doesn't have as much protein, but see, we're not drinking juice for the protein. That's another conversation, the protein myth. But with the smoothies, you can add, your almonds, or you can add your nut butter, or you can add your hemp seeds or your flax seeds to give you some protein. So a typical smoothie, like say if um, I'm like really, really hungry after I've worked out and I lift some really heavy weights, I'll do and I don't have time to actually make food. I'll do spirulina, hemp seed, maca powder, because sometimes I'm a hot mess and that kind of helps regulate some stuff for women and men. I'll do maybe a pear. I kind of back away from the bananas because they constipate me. So you may actually want to eliminate bananas from your diet also if you're having the constipation issues. I will also put in there whatever leafy green I have. I like kale. Kale's popular in this house, so I'll do kale. I'll do MCT oil, which is multiple chain triglycerides, coconut oil. I'll do chlorophyll. I'll do liquid chlorophyll drops, maybe 15 drops of chlorophyll, green. I'll top it with some kind of rice milk or almond milk. Now, sometimes I add like half a cup of oatmeal. Sometimes I
Wow.
add maybe like a fourth of an avocado. And then I'll pulverize all of that up, and that's my meal replacer. So there's protein, there's fiber, there's iron, there's the roughage. So it'll clean out my digestive tract because of the leafy greens. Just because the leafy greens are not whole and I'm not chewing them doesn't mean my stomach and my digestive, or I should say my digestive system, the intestines doesn't benefit from it. It still does.
Okay. So what does the oatmeal do?
Well, oatmeal, first of all, it helps fill you up. It's fiber, it's iron, it's a plant-based protein. And so instead of like taking 10, 15 minutes to make the oatmeal, I'll just put it raw, dry and raw in my smoothie.
Okay, okay. And then, so I'm guessing, now this is going to sound weird because I think it's the opposite for every other human on the planet, but welcome to the story of my life. So for normal people, I think fiber helps in like the speed of digestion and bowel movements and stuff. And for me eating fiber, like once someone said, "Hey, listen, you're having so many problems," and when I say someone, I mean a gastroenterologist, said, "Here's a fiber supplement. You know, you mix this into whatever," and I did that, and if anything, what it did was it made my stomach, whatever issues I was having with a little bit of bloating, I got like an extremely distended stomach to the point where people literally thought I was actually pregnant for real. And it happens every time that I eat things that I know for sure are high in fiber. This is great for fiber, blah, blah, blah. So in that case, what I'm guessing is I should then go the juicing route
So,
instead of the juice smoothie route.
well, let me ask you this. What things are you eating that are high in fiber that cause those issues for you?
Um, Basically anything. Like, I mean, obviously the supplements, right? Because I'm thinking specifically of the time that I was given something akin to Metamucil, and this is what happened. But also just when I eat things that are like, like I'm totally drawing a blank. Honestly, a lot of it is I can think of like grain type things, some vegetables, but there are certain, I know there are some leafy greens. I have a list somewhere of things that I can't eat. And I know there were some greens on there and they were high in fiber. So it was like, I can't remember very like specifics, but I do know that this is a common reaction for my stomach, is something that's specifically high. It might have fiber in it, it'll be fine, but something that's specifically high in fiber tends to make my stomach my digestion slow down, not speed up.
Um,
Or rather, not my digestion. See, it's like, because I have the issue where my stomach is slow to empty, right? That's a separate issue from what my bowels are doing. I figured out
right,
over time.
right.
And so I don't know. It's almost like instead of speeding up things and allowing things to move more quickly, or for air to escape more freely or not to build up or whatever, it does the exact opposite. And so it'll just like everything slows down, and I'm not passing any types of wind anywhere. It's just like it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then I'll intentionally go out of my way and eat things that are not binding at all. And then like within a few days it'll clear itself back up and just go back to normal.
So you're not having regular bowel movements.
I do when I watch everything I eat to a T. Then I have regular daily bowel movements, or every other day, depending on how much I ate the day before. But yeah.
So what have you considered probiotics or enzymes?
Yes. And I have to be careful what probiotic. I just spent $100 on a probiotic that did the exact same thing we are talking about. My stomach just got more and more distended, and it slowed everything down, and I already had a problem, and I actually had to start taking my metoclopramide again which is not a safe drug to be taking, honestly. But it kind of got stuck between a rock and a hard place at that point. So, but I've also taken probiotics that have been really, really good for me. So I'm not sure what the difference is, unfortunately, between the ones that were good and this one. This one had like a lot, like however many billion strains, and the person said, oh, this is going to be great, it's great for digestion, and it did the actual opposite for me, which is why I go the yogurt route, because I'm like, there's a little bit of probiotics in it, and
Right.
at least it's giving me something. And I noticed without the yogurt I do have more problems.
So the reason you're eating the yogurt is because of the probiotics, like you said, and acidophilus is one of the main probiotics in yogurt, and you can actually take probiotics
Oh,
without the yogurt. I'm just kind of concerned about the dairy because you have such a sensitivity to so many things that you eat that
yes.
you should probably stay away from dairy. I think that you sought out a dietitian or like a holistic dietitian or a registered nutritionist.
I'm on a list for one that's covered by OHIP, because we do have OHIP coverage for these things if a doctor prescribes it. I've been on that list. It's going on 7 months, but I am on a list for one.
Okay.
I've spoken to one. I've spoken to two in the past. The problem is when you get these ones that are covered by OHIP, or your insurance, basically it's hit and miss on a
Yeah,
scale of 1 to 10 how much of their job they want to do.
yeah.
So it was kind of like I walked in and they said, well, what are your problems? Basically, what would you like to cut out of your diet? What would you like? I'm like, I don't know. Here are
Right.
my problems. I want you to tell me. Not the other
Well,
way. I don't know. If I
on
knew,
the,
I would need you.
on the other side of the show, I can send you um, information for someone who is really, really good. Now, I know you don't have cancer, but she started um, as a holistic health and nutrition guru. I'm gonna call her a guru
Mm,
because her father had cancer. So she did all this research on food to help, to help with the cancer. And so it kind of grew and grew and grew. And now she has like this huge clientele here in Baltimore. And I had dinner with her last month, and she's just so phenomenal, so knowledgeable. I'm pretty sure she can help you.
okay. Awesome. No, and I would absolutely love that and appreciate that so much. And I did not know, like, the fact that you just told me, oh, there's this main probiotic in yogurt. Oh, really? There's like someone could have told me that I could take.
Like,
Like what?
I mean, you can check. So when I'm new to something, I tend to want to like go to the store, look at it, smell it, read the box,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like interact with it before I like jump to Amazon. I'm really not a big Amazon fan because he's putting everything out of business, every business, like mom and pop shop. That's another conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could go to Whole Foods,
Yeah,
or I mean, I prefer Whole Foods.
me too.
Um, I was gonna say as opposed to GNC or the Vitamin
Oh
Shop.
yeah. Oh God, no, those
So
are terrible.
right. So I would go to Whole Foods and go to the supplement section, and in the refrigerated part of the supplement
Mm-hmm.
section, if no one is there to help you, you'll find the probiotics.
Yeah. No, that's where the ones that I have are from. And
Okay.
the awesome thing, I don't know if this is around the world, but here at Whole Foods, if you buy a probiotic, you have a period of time where you can actually exchange, you can use it and exchange it. So if
Oh,
it didn't work out for you, you
cool.
can return it and get a different one. But I just didn't have a different one to get. Like I was like, what's the point of me going there
Yeah.
and just trying something else out that may or may not demolish my world again, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
now that I have this lead,
Yeah.
and there are people to help you and they're trying, right? But I mean, I have a complicated case. It's not like, I have a really basic case, so it's really easy to keep track of 6 million different factors when, they're not even really that trained. They're just trained in this section. They only know so much. So at least this way I can kind of be like, hey, this is the main probiotic I'm looking for.
Hmm.
And this is what I'm also looking for now point me, which ones am I looking at here? Because it's always the
Right.
refrigerated ones. I've never gone for the ones that aren't refrigerated. I feel like those don't work for some reason.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think there is hope. You should have hope. I'm gonna give you, her name is Sandra Woods. She's here in
Thank you.
Baltimore. She used to have a restaurant, like a juice bar. And I think she sold like raw food or vegan food or something like that. She's phenomenal. Like, she's absolutely amazing at what she does. And she said she had clients that said, "Why are you so cheap? Why aren't your
Oh,
prices more expensive?" And she just plainly said, "Well, I want people to afford them because I want to help people." I said, "Well, all right then."
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. She sounds like my kind of person. I'm that kind of person. Yep.
Right. So yeah, I'll pass that along.
Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing.
Hmm. So
That's great. I'm excited for the hormone project or
Mhm.
sessions that you're going to start. So I definitely will be looking out for that.
yes, look out for it.
Speaking of hormones, now this isn't technically women's health, but it's related. I'll say more to men's health, but women's happiness and well-being. So this is a question that
Oh,
I got emailed to me. Um, so what she wants me to ask you, she has been having an issue with her husband, and the problem is not that he can't get it up; it's that he can't cross the finish line. And so no matter what she does, she's starting to get very discouraged. She's starting to feel like maybe she's not that attractive. No matter what, she tries the lacy lingerie. She's tried, all of his kink. They've even tried the okay, well, abstain for 30 days from, any type of masturbation or anything like that, whatever. And yet he cannot cross the finish line. And she's starting to get very dejected and hurt, but she can see that it's hurting him as well, like it's confusing him.
Hmm.
And it's not about, now if we're taking her word, obviously, it's not about her, he's not cheating or whatever, it just has to do with his body not being able to cross that finish line. And so she wanted to know if you had any advice for what maybe she could feed her husband, what supplements she could give him, or something to help him get to the point where he can cross the finish line. He just barely turned 40,
Hmm.
black man, and he's not overweight. He's not in the best of health. Like, it's not like he's working out 10 times a day or 10 times a week like he did in high school, but he's in decent shape. They're active as a family. They have a few kids, and they're an active family. They go on hikes or go fishing or whatever it is on occasion. So, it's not like they're unhealthy necessarily. So she feels like it's probably, and they are on the wait list for him to see a urologist, but that takes forever. So she wanted to know if you had any suggestions. Is it a testosterone thing? If so, or if there's something basically you can suggest.
Um,
And she just sent me a message saying, "Hey, you didn't forget my question, did you?" So
oh.
I thought maybe I should get it in.
Oh, good, good, good. Thank you for the question. It's not very often someone asks me about men. This is interesting. So my question to you is, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but um, is he able to keep an erection during their session?
Yes. And she said it can go on and on, like till she is painful and sore and raw. And he's staying up. He's staying hard. He just can't cross that finish line.
So there could be a couple of things. There's a so women, we do Kegels, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do Kegels. Men can do Kegels too. And there are certain exercises. I can't remember the Asian man's name, but he came up with these exercises. I don't know if it's him, but he's the modern version of whoever came up with them. And basically, when a man feel, and I don't know if this is his case, but when a man is having sex and he feels the urge to have an orgasm, he can, I don't want to use the word train, but he can do certain exercises and breathing exercises that will literally recycle it back up, which will
Mm.
cause him to have an internal orgasm. And so, if that's one possibility, he might have, um, trained himself with these exercises to prolong the orgasm. It doesn't sound like that's what it is, because it sounds like he's frustrated too and wants to cross the finish line as well. But that is a
Yeah.
possibility for people who didn't know that.
Hmm,
Um,
I didn't know that.
it could also
Right?
it could also be that maybe if he's masturbating when they're not together. It could be that he's ejaculating too much. Um, it could be dietary. It could be that he's eating a lot of estrogen rich foods.
Oh, okay. So what are
Wow.
those? And how so that way she could stop feeding him those? Because she's entirely. I mean, I'm sure he sneaks some stuff, right? I mean, he's a man, but she makes his lunches, she makes his dinner, she does all the shopping in the house. So if he's eating something wrong, it's on her to change it, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, the number one thing that I can think of is soy.
Mm,
Soy
okay.
has a lot of estrogen. It has so much estrogen that I don't really like to eat it myself. And
Oh wow.
that's just one of the reasons. I mean, not only is it a genetically modified substance, and the vast majority of soy grown in this country has been genetically modified or altered.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have Monsanto to thank for that, along with the wheat. Um, it has
Mm-hmm.
a high level of estrogen, and so a lot of times when males, let me say males because we're talking about boys too now. When males eat a lot of soy, and I don't just mean tofu. Tofu is soy based, but
Ooh.
I'm talking about soy. Soy is like the umbrella. Soy is like the actual the soy bean that grows from the ground, and then what all their million other things that we do to process it to create other things. So soy is in almost everything.
Yeah.
Everything. That Impossible Whopper that just came out at Burger King, there's like I don't know, some ridiculous 44 grams of I don't know. It was just so much
Mm.
estrogen in that burger. Now, how many men are taking that burger who are thinking of becoming vegetarian? So instead of getting the Whopper, they're gonna get, and there's probably soy in the Whopper. There's soy
Mm.
in everything. Just because it doesn't say soy on the package doesn't mean it's not soy. They have all these different codes for
Yeah.
sugar and for salt. They have all those codes for soy as well. So anyway, he might
Mm.
have a diet high in estrogen. And so I would tell her to look up foods that are high in estrogen and see and compare that to her grocery list,
Mm.
and
Okay.
to replace some of those foods with lower levels of estrogen
Wow.
containing foods.
That's crazy. Uh, are there foods that are high in testosterone, or that I guess maybe block estrogen, or
So I believe so. I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't um I wouldn't say I know like this food, but yes, there are some foods that men can eat to build up their testosterone, and there are some foods that women can eat to build up their estrogen if they desire to.
well, I was gonna say, so if a woman builds up her estrogen, is no, I'm guessing that doesn't make her more sexual because it's testosterone that makes us both sexual, right? Both men and women. So like if a woman had the same problem where she was very pleased and she was always getting near orgasm but just couldn't quite tip over even when she was alone, would it be the same thing?
I don't
Um,
think, I mean, and again, I'm not an expert, just for those that are watching and listening, I'm not an expert with hormones yet,
right.
but I would say the vast majority of women that are having sex do not have an orgasm. And that's a freaking problem. I'm not one of them, but the vast majority are not. Like, it's like 60 to 80%. There was a survey, and 60 to 80%, I can't remember what the exact number was, said they had never had an orgasm. And even, just the TMI,
Never?
never, not by penetration,
Damn.
not with penetration.
Oh, not by penetration. Okay. I have never, I'm going to say solo, had an orgasm by penetration. They're two separate, or I guess different feelings to me. So I don't know. That's, yeah, no, I never have either. I guess I'm part of the 80% then. I mean, I've had lots and lots and lots and lots of orgasms, but never by penetration, or
Right,
not by penetration alone, at least.
right. And so,
So just to clarify.
right. And so,
You got to teach us. Is a class on that or a book we can read?
okay, let me get through my diastasis training,
Sorry.
and then I'll get to the hormones and the orgasms. However, there was a
Okay.
woman. I need to figure out the woman's name. I need to dig. But this woman said, "Y'all ready for this? Y'all
Yeah.
ready for this?" This woman said, "For women, there are 11 different types of orgasms. 11.
11?
11 different types. I have experienced maybe like 4 or 5 different types. So I'm like 11.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would agree with that because, and I've said it before, I'm like, the orgasm that I have, which is rare, it's very rare for me to be able to, because I don't know, for some reason during penetration, like for example, it's like someone inactivates my clitoris, like there's no sensation there anymore, I just don't feel it. And the few times that I've been just in, and everything's been in the right angle and whatever and blah blah blah, so I've been able to do both and have an orgasm that way. It's a different experience, a different feeling. It's almost like it flutters like a butterfly, like it's so weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I've never felt that feeling before. I remember the first time it happened, it wasn't that long ago, and I was like, what the hell? It's like, whoa, like you should have seen my whole face. Like, I actually went, whoa, like, I thought I knew my body. What the hell's going on here, right?
So here's the thing. So here's the thing that a lot of people have not considered when they're with their partner. There is a such thing as sexual compatibility, and I don't mean, oh my God, the sex is really good. I mean on a structural compatibility level. What does that mean? So women, we have vaginas, right? We have this canal that goes to the cervix, right? And so that canal can be short, it can be long, it can be wide, it can be narrow, right? We're all different. And men, their penises can be long, they can be short, they can be wide, they can be narrow. And so depending on how the penis, the stature of the penis and the makeup of the woman's vaginal canal, the canal, it might be incompatible. And if it's incompatible, like if you have a short, stubby penis and a long, narrow canal, she might not through penetration, because he's not going to reach her G spot. He's not going to reach, far back, So
That is true.
so you have to also take that into consideration. So I'm not saying that the sex isn't going to be great. The sex could be great, but it might not be a perfect or ideal match in terms of their physical makeup.
And I will agree on that because I have a friend that's very tall, and she said that she's long, and she needs someone that's long, and they have to be at least a minimum of 8 inches, a minimum. So she measures. She don't even go that far with the person. When she meet them, make sure they get all their teeth and all that, and she have a conversation with them. And if she feels that she's ready to, or she would have sex with that person, she just tell them, I need 8 inches or more. So
That
let's
woman is
measure.
in tune with her body. That's
Damn.
great. She is on speaking terms with her body, and I commend her for that.
Damn, though.
Great. She's upfront about it.
Sorry. I just think it's funny. Like, all right, so just before we start, if I could hold on 1 second, brings up the tape measure.
Yeah,
I know
she actually measured it.
it can be awkward, but maybe going through with having sex might be even more awkward.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Well, and I would like to say though, for the record, and I thought that this was a myth, and until I met my husband, is there are some men who are growers. That is to say that when they at the start of the sexual experience, even though they're rock solid, they are literally shorter and smaller than they end up being towards the end. Like they actually grow over the experience. And I'm not sure how that is, but they do. And I've seen it with my own eyes to know that this is true. So I mean, if a guy says he's a grower, he might be lying. But I mean, he might grow. I mean, I'm sure it's not by like if he's like 4 inches below the mark, then yeah, no, not so much, right? There's no
Right.
way anyone's growing within it by 4 inches. But I
Well,
just think that's funny. The tape measure, it just killed
well,
me.
so we know how men get erections, right? Like what makes the man hard?
Blood.
Blood,
Blood flow.
the blood
Mm-hmm.
flow. So a combination of his blood flow and his arousal, I could see that happening. His growth.
Mm-hmm.
You might be
Mm.
arousing him. There are men that get aroused if you kiss their neck, or if you kiss on their nipples, or if you play in their hair while you're in the act. And if and things start to snowball and snowball, and the blood flow, and so it sounds like your husband is healthy because there's blood
Ah.
flowing. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
like this erectile dysfunction thing. It's because there's a lack of blood flow. There's a problem there.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right.
have a on my Just Act Shar channel, my personal channel. I just had a letter. A young lady, she was having well, her guy was having an issue, but I was with the information that she's given me in the letter, it was more of a problem because he had stress. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
anything I could say as far as, medical, but I did tell her to do some research, to do some techniques to see, get them aroused technically. And I haven't, heard back from her. It's only been a few weeks, but um, as far as arousal, yes, that is a, I must say that is a big thing. There's so many different things because I did give her a few techniques. I said, well, massage, touch,
Mm-hmm.
that's really good. Try different scented oils.
Mm-hmm.
Change the temperature of the room.
Play some music.
Yeah, all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. So, that could help. And it can go from, 0 to 100 real quick.
And here's the
Mm.
thing.
Mm.
We also, as women, or maybe I'll speak for myself, because I have a side hobby. For the past 10 years, whenever I have time, I do a little bit of research on men, women, and the dynamics between the two. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I've learned, and I know it might be obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me. There are a couple differences between men and women. Men are visual, and
Yes.
if and they respond to what they see.
Right.
And so if you're there and you have the lingerie, or you have this certain look on your face, or your hair, and of course they love the smell. They want the woman to smell really, really good. They respond to that as well. They respond to the visual first.
Mm-hmm.
Women, we don't really respond to the visual. I'm not saying we don't care what our partner looks like, but you know, you know, so we're different.
Yeah.
You know what
No,
I mean?
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll leave it there.
No, that's
Yeah.
absolutely true. And like sensation is key. And that's why a lot of women who have never experienced an orgasm don't realize that the reason why is because they're in their head a lot of times. Either they're performing for him, they're wondering too many things. Do I look fat? Does it feel good to him? Am I wet enough? Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Then, or their minds wander to something else. But even if they're thinking
Yeah.
about the sex itself instead of like they have to pull themselves into and then stay grounded in the feeling, because if we don't, we're never going to be able to be at maximum sensation and maximum arousal and therefore maximum pleasure. So yeah, no, I know for me at least it's something even to this day I still have to work on not doing, because it's so easy to think about something else. It's so easy, your mind will wander for just a moment, just that one moment where you think, oh, am I looking lumpy in this position or something? Boom, that's it. Now you're out of it. All of that work you
So,
did building up, you're gone. Damn
so,
it.
so one thing I've learned, this is just my personal experience. As I've gotten older, I've not given two shits about what my partner thinks for the most
Mm,
part in terms of my body. Now, like, do I look good in this? I mean, I'm talking about sex. I'm talking about like
mm,
the session. You know,
Hmm.
like I
Yeah.
am who I am, and I try to eat right and work out and positive mindset. And yes, I have crappy days, but I try to get myself together and have an avocado sandwich, and I'm fine again. you know and so I'm saying all that to say is the more I care more about what I think and less about what my partner thinks, I'm actually more comfortable. And when I'm more comfortable, I release and let go a whole lot more, and I am more
mm,
stimulated and he is more stimulated. It is it is not it does not benefit either person in that situation, in your sexual session, to be so self-conscious and I didn't say self-aware. Self-awareness is always a great thing, but self-conscious, which is basically other people's consciousness of you,
mm-hmm.
you
Hmm.
kind of forget that and put that to the side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the floodgates will open.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
sometimes it's hard though. Sometimes you go there, you have to fight that. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. At times you can just say, forget all of this. And it's wonderful. Wonderful
And to
experience.
be honest,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, a lot of men don't care about that little extra flab. You
No,
know,
they don't see it. It's irrelevant to them. Like all the
yeah,
things that you're so busy ruining your sex life over,
yep,
basically they honestly when they look at it, they're like, God damn, she's sexy. Like they don't
yep. They not
that does
looking at the
not.
they're not looking at
Mm-mm.
the toenail polish. They not
Nope.
looking at the messed up side of your head that got smushed during the first part of the session. They not looking at the stretch marks. They not
You're
looking at
bloated today, so
yeah,
you got a little bit of belly.
yeah. Nope, not looking at none of that.
Nope. Do not care at all. And see, but that's the thing, because I think that's the thing. On one side, we understand men are visual creatures, but we don't understand their visual perception because when we are
Hmm.
being visual, we care about the little nitty gritty. When we look at anybody, man, woman, or child, we take in all those little details and all of them matter to us. But so we can't understand that for them, they don't take in those details. They really don't. Like they're taking in a generalized perception of you.
Yeah,
Generalized. So
yeah.
generalized, you've got all the right parts in all the right places. And they touched your arm earlier today and that felt soft, so now it all looks soft to them and they're good. Like that's fine for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I agree with that. That was
Gotta love
fun.
it.
Yeah, I like that topic. Don't tell nobody.
You know what though? I will say because I'm a little bit of a narcissist, just a little bit. So I get off on myself, and I don't mean on sensation. Like I mean, I get off on the images of how hot I think I look in that position, or how hot I think I look in this moment. I know that sounds really weird, but I really do.
Mhm.
It's almost like in my head I imagine myself as a porn star in this moment, so like I'm feeling this sensation, feels great, and then I don't look at what I'm actually doing. It's my mind's eyes version of what I'm
Mhm.
doing and
Mhm.
how amazing that looks. Like
Mhm.
and
And
then I'm like,
I'm pretty sure your husband loves that.
"Oh yeah, no, absolutely." Cuz I'm so and I think that that has always been a thing about me is that despite how the fact I might think I look fat, I might actually really be fat here or there, but in the moment, like I'm just an uninhibited person. I think
Mhm.
like it's
Mhm.
irrelevant. Like yeah, sure, fine. I'm 220 pounds, not happy about that today. Now I slap on some clothes and I go outside in the world, and you would swear I think that I'm hot shit. Like not like in a diva whatever, but I'm just very comfortable because it is what it is. So in this moment, like me sucking in my stomach or something, that's not gonna last over the course of this interaction we're having. So I might as well just not care at the beginning, and as long as he doesn't
Mhm.
make some horrified face, we should be good, right? Okay.
Right.
Um, and yeah, and it's that and that's how you're able to be uninhibited. I'm more interested in the experience and in the pleasure and in the sensation, and I want to do it. Am I doing it right? Is it good? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, and now I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to find my own pleasure in your pleasure and vice versa. And so yeah, and he does really appreciate that, and I think because he's like that too, like this is about an experience, a moment, a shared sensation. So
And to
it's not about little details.
and to go back to the question that your friend had about her husband or her partner not finishing, crossing the finish line. I wanted to ask, and I don't know if you know this, but do you know the main position that they're in?
They do try. She did say it's a variety, so they try doing it even just impromptu in the kitchen, impromptu in wherever, the doggy style, the missionary, they're just, it's basically their sex life was always active and varied. And nothing about that changed, just
Mm-hmm.
him crossing the finish line. And I actually told her of an experience that me and my husband were having where that was literally the problem. Was honestly, I had just been sick. I had gotten really sick for a little while, and I was not able to do anything. And so he spent a lot of time, with himself. And so by the time he got back to being with me, his body had gotten used to his masturbation style. And it's normally a way more pressure than another human's body can really give you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really what the problem was. And the suggestion was no masturbation for 30 days, no sexual contact of any kind for 30 days. You can cuddle, you can kiss, but no one can touch it for 30 days. And that 30 days, that's why she tried the 30 days thing, because it had worked for us. Like it was like, boom, instant. That was the problem. It was just your body gets used to being touched in a particular way with particular pressure and blah, 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 because you know exactly how it feels and whatever, and you get it done. And so they tried that. And so, the first time was wild and crazy. No, nothing. Her on top, him on top. It doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter. They went back to their, tried and trues, because they've been together for a really long time. I think 15 years. So,
Mm.
and yeah, this has just been in the last couple years that it
Well,
just got worse and worse.
in my research, the ideal position for heterosexual sessions is for the woman to be on top.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize that sex is for the woman. It's not for the man. That's number one.
Could
Sex
you
is,
give us a
sex
little
is,
information on that?
sex is for
Mm-hmm.
the woman. So if you take your pointer finger, this is what I was told. If you take your pointer finger and you stick it in your ear and you scratch it, like say you have an itch in your ear and you scratch it, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, what is being satisfied, the finger or the ear?
The ear.
The ear. Did we get it? We don't get it. Okay. The ear is the is
I
the
get what you're saying, but I'm just trying to picture that like, okay. I
yeah.
get what you're saying. Go ahead.
Ideally, sex is to be had with the woman on top, and once the sex session is over, they should be cuddling, and they should not separate from one another too quickly. They should not wash themselves too quickly. They should lie there in their wherever they are, the bed, where floor, wherever, because that's still a part. That time right after is a part of the bonding session. It's a part of the sexual session. And if you jump up, just like when a baby is born, you should not wash off the I think it's called meconium. You shouldn't wash off all of the fluids that are birthed, that when the baby is birthed, that are on the baby. That
Mhm.
stuff needs to stay on the baby, and the baby needs to go straight to mom's arms. It's very similar with sex. All those liquids and fluids all over the place, they need to stay right where they are. You need to bond with that partner for a little bit instead of jumping up. I'm all about quickies, But in an ideal situation, the woman is on top and you're bonding a little bit afterwards, all soiled and everything.
Okay,
Let
I'm
me
still
ask this.
confused. Oh.
Let me ask this real quick. Is there, as far as on top, is it any particular way? I mean, should she lean toward them, away from them? I mean, anything specific?
I wouldn't say anything specifically. Um, sh- so a woman, depending on her, well, I wouldn't even say depending on her age, but I would say a woman who spends enough time with herself and gets to know her body would know the angles that she needs to put herself in order to experience certain sensations. So, the man, I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing. That's not at all what I'm saying, but it's your body and you know where the itch is. So you should position, experiment. Lean
Hmm.
forward, lean to the side. Shoot, put both legs on one side while you're sitting on him instead of straddling him. I would experiment
Oh, okay.
because you might realize your favorite position is riding him backwards.
See, I was actually gonna ask you about that before I go back to my confusion, um, because what I've noticed is, I mean, honestly, I won't say it's unfailing, but it's damn near unfailing. If you ask a guy what his favorite position is, he's gonna say woman on top, reverse cowgirl. And when you hear that, you're gonna hear a lot of women going, because it's like their least favorite position. Um, right, and so what I guess, to me at least, right, that position puts a lot of pressure back instead of forward towards the G spot. And there's not, I mean, you can try to put yourself into really awkward, contorted, my back's arched, and this and that, and whatever, without hurting him and still getting it in the right place. But a lot of that still involves taking away the visual, which is why he likes the reverse cowgirl. But then some chicks are like, yo, it's my favorite position. There are a few women who are like, yeah, man, I love reverse cowgirl. So maybe the rest of us are doing it wrong. Because to me, all I feel, like I said, I feel pressure backwards, which therefore is putting pressure on my anus, and it feels, it's not doing the same thing that, say, girl on top can do, where you're going to get a lot of pressure towards your G spot, which is, towards the front.
So specifically about that position, if you're a
Mm-hmm.
first cowgirl, you may want to lean back
Lean back. Okay.
instead of upright or even forward. You may want to lean back. Sometimes women will lean back so that there's not as much pressure.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah.
try it tonight and let us know.
Doesn't that ruin it for him though? Because isn't the whole point that he needs to be able to see everything? But I feel
Listen,
like if you
girl,
lean back, then you take
sex,
away his visual,
sex
right?
is for you. He's just
Oh,
he's
that
just
position for him.
look,
I'm lazy. If it's for me, I
he,
want to lie down.
he's just she
That'd be
look,
real.
he's just coming along for the ride. He's just coming along for the ride. Um and it's actually been my experience that most guys like from behind better than on top. And I don't know
Oh,
and I don't
Yeah,
know
it
if
is
it's because
easier.
they are in control or they can see the spread, or it's not universal that all women can ride to their standards, but yeah, if you're lazy, we all have our lazy moments more than others, then missionary it is. And even with missionary, you can do missionary, then put both legs on one side, you can still change that up and still be on your back.
well, like honestly, I think lazy is kind of like my standard mode at all times, sex or not. No, because to me, it's just work, right? Like I don't like being on top. I will do it for him, because like for it, but it is for him, because for me, just by the virtue of the fact that I'm the one who has to move, and so I'm having to put in so much physical energy and work, like it's not as pleasing to me, let's say, as any other position where I'm not moving. And that's not to say that I lie there like a dead fish, okay? I want to try to clear up my reputation before this goes worldwide. Um because I move a little bit, right? Like it's like you get into emotion with each other, right? So I'm moving into you as you're moving, but you're still doing the heavy lifting. And for me that means I can lie down, close my eyes, and I can focus on the sensation. But when I and then move you to where I'd like you to be, in the position I'd like you to be, and when you get there I can go right there, and now you and I can lie back and I can just enjoy it. Whereas in to me, when I'm the person on top, then I'm figuring out the motion and whatever, and I've got to put in all of this work, and I can't just focus on the sensation because I've got to be in constant motion to get the sensation. And then it kind of takes it away from me. Like I don't know. So to me, the on top ones are 100% for him, and hopefully for not that long. Like I'm hoping he gets his fix quick enough, and then we can go from that to whatever else that involves me not moving because I turned you on so much by being on top, right? Like I'm hoping like a minute, 30 seconds. Like how fast can we get through this one? Like that's how I feel about women on top.
Is that because of the pain that you experience?
You know what? Okay, to an extent it's gotten a lot worse. My lazy factor has gotten a lot worse because of the pain, and I know that it's going to hurt me a lot tomorrow and probably for weeks, and my mind will start going there. But I'll say even before that, like I was always relatively lazy. Like I was always relatively, I want to lay back and enjoy the ride. um
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know, I mean maybe other people the physical activity is part of it for them,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know, like do other people like it takes away, like but I can't have an orgasm. I know this sounds, I cannot have an orgasm unless I'm lying flat on my back. I can't. And so I can get a lot of pleasure in other positions, but like even like when you're a little bit younger and there's a detachable shower head, there's you exploring and whatever. I tried standing up. It didn't matter what position I was in unless I laid flat on my back in the tub even. Could not have an orgasm. So uh maybe that has something to do with it too, but I think that's weird because I think most people can do it in other positions, standing up, sitting up, whatever it is.
Not being able to get an orgasm through penetration, or just period, even if you're being touched.
Yeah, period, even if it's by myself. Yeah.
I think that's a mental thing.
It's been like that, like when I was young, because I really wanted to, right? I was a little bit precocious that way. And so it was like, oh my God, I want to, like, remember I get off in my head, right? So it's like, oh, I want to be the girl who's doing this, right? And I would be there for a good minute, and it would almost get sore, like with the water beating down on it, or with the vibrator or whatever, and eventually it just gets to the point where it's like numb. It just doesn't happen. But if I'm flat on my back, it's different. And again, I'm pretty sure that has something to do with effort. I really do, because as soon as I'm using my muscles for anything, like if I have to hold up a leg to get in there or something, so even if I'm lying on my side, I have to therefore move a leg to access something, or I have to, I'm sitting up, so I'm engaging muscles to make sure I don't fall over or something. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Interesting.
I know, lazy. I'm telling you, I was born lazy. Like that is like my natural mode of operation.
well, if your husband doesn't have a problem with it, then
Thank God he doesn't, right?
and you should be fine.
But I have a question about, okay, so I want to go back to the ear scratching thing, right? No, I do. I'm trying to understand. Okay. So you're saying, okay, which thing feels the sensation, your finger or your ear? And your ear feels the sensation.
Now, yes. Now, it could be debated that both feel some sort of sensation, and that is true. But I guess the question should be, which feels the most sensation?
Well, yeah, your ear is going to feel the most sensation, but if it's my finger in someone else's ear, my finger is going to feel the most sensation on my body, right? And their ear is going to feel the most sensation on theirs.
Right. But
Okay.
see, the point is that women have more nerves in their clitoris than men have in their penis.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, I think women have like 6,000-7,000 nerve endings or something, and men have like, I don't know, like 10% of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have more nerves. We have more a higher threshold of potential sensate. What's the word? I guess, yeah, feeling
Yeah, sensation and
sensation. Yeah, than men do, and
right.
so um, some would suggest that that kind of points to, sex. Not that men don't benefit, not that men don't want, of course they want it, but society, they're like, they have done a great big job of painting the man as the one that wants sex the most. And in
Mm-hmm.
fact, women want sex just as much, if not more.
Right.
you know
Mm-hmm.
so that's all I was just saying, that just based on some of the things that I've read and my talking with people and my own experience, that sex is really for the woman. I mean, she's the child bearer, whether she has children or not. She has the ability to have, and so the number one reason to have sex is to procreate, and so it has
Mm-hmm.
to be pleasurable for her.
Oh
It's,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I mean, I don't know if either of you have given birth, but I've done it 3 times, and it's a bit traumatic.
Oh yeah, no, and hence why I've never given birth.
You know,
Got enough off the TV.
I
Yeah.
said that when I was younger.
Oh
That
yeah.
I think I was
Health,
22.
wellness.
I think I was about 22. And I was thinking, I said, if what was going on with my boyfriend, I'm like, if this is all it is, and I got to have a baby behind this, I need more pleasure. Something ain't right here. So I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and with that being said too, I mean, I think maybe for me, I've always seen myself as like, the magical gatekeeper. So with that being said, if I'm not adequately satisfied, you're not getting the sex anyway. So, to me, foreplay was my realm. And it was my favorite realm. It's like my playtime. So, because I could have foreplay all day. And we can have orgasm after orgasm. We can have multiple orgasms, one session of foreplay. So I think I've always kind of seen it as, and unless I'm done with foreplay, no one's having sex. So what do you want to do about that?
That's funny.
All right, gatekeeper.
Just saying, y'all. Sorry, I know men aren't liking it, but it is what it is. We are the gatekeeper. My knees stay
Yeah.
closed or they don't. So
Yeah.
I always love sex topics. I do. Because you know what? So many people don't want to ask, but everyone's glued to it. Like, oh my
Right.
God,
Right.
finally an answer to that thing I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody in the
Yeah.
audience?
What information? I mean, what information? I know you said on your in your spare time you looked this up. Was there any particular book or audio or video class or anything that you look at some information and get?
Yeah, so there's a really good book. I gave it to my best friend and I never got it back. One really good book is called Animus and Anima. The Animus and Anima. We all have it. The Animus represents I can't remember, it's the man, and the anima represents, or I should say the male energy, and then the anima represents the female energy. I can't remember which one it is. It's been like a really long time since I read that book, but that's a really good book if you look that one up. There's a woman also, I don't know who wrote that book. There's also, I'm actually looking it up now. What is her last name? Allison. Oh, male, female. What is her name? She is the bomb. She is Allison Armstrong. There it is. I typed in Allison male, female. YouTube is so smart. It gave me Allison Armstrong. Allison Armstrong is this woman that has dedicated, I don't know, the past decade and a half on male female relationships. and not even necessarily relationships, but like the dynamic between the two and how they interact with one another, and like understanding men from a woman's perspective and understanding women from a man's perspective. Um and so she's created this I don't want to call it a university, but she's created this thing called the Queen's Code. I think that's a book, the Queen's Code. I haven't read it. I just stalked her on YouTube, and she's funny and she's quirky, and she's very easy to keep your attention with her. And she talked about I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, a lot of the things that she said resonated, and it was true. Like, women, we're like the communicators. We're the
Uh-huh.
communicators. So when we come home and, hey honey, how was your day? We want, I don't know about y'all, but like when my partner says, hey, how was your day? I go from the color of the walls to the room I was in to what the other person was wearing, and she said this and he said that, and they didn't pay me on time, but then this was like, I want him to experience every single nook and cranny of my day. I convey everything to him. Whereas men, they're just like, yeah, my day was good. I'm like, but wait, but what happened when we did this thing? Oh yeah, that went fine. Yeah, we got together and we ate. And what did you eat? What did they, so how was the service, kind of thing. And they're just like very, very different. And she says a lot of women, they view men as hairy women. They don't view them as men. They view them as hairy women. So they think that that men think like them. That men should be communicating the way that they do. That men, learn the same way that women do, and that's not the case. Men, they think differently. They communicate differently. They synthesize information differently from women. And so once you can unpack how a man is, we have outliers, but just a typical man, and how a typical woman is, and how the other can understand where they're coming from, as opposed to imposing who they are onto this other person,
Mm-hmm.
all of how they, go about life is not the way to go, because they're gonna be errors.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, absolutely. That's actually what a lot of the focus of the content that I've made and I'm supposed to be making focuses on is evolutionary psychology, because we have to understand that, we evolved to think and feel and act and behave as we do. It's the way we are built. It's like our hands. If it would be more useful for us to be born with a sixth and a seventh finger, it's not going to just start happening because, hey, well, it would be more useful, because that doesn't actually affect our ability to survive in today's society. So we have to understand that all these things are socially trained or socially wanted expectations, but they're not live or die ones like they were 10,000 years ago. And so, men, the way that they think, like, we're just talking about how when they look at a woman's body, it's broad strokes. They're not looking at all those little minute details. Well, they evolved to think that way, just like women evolved to think and look at the macro, the teeny tiny little details of everything. That's why women can see a million different colors of red and men can see three.
Mm-hmm.
But it has an evolutionary advantage. Women who could see a lot of different colors of berries could tell exactly which ones were poisonous, which ones weren't. Back when there were many more varieties,
Mm-hmm.
they could tell exactly when they were perfectly ripe and ready to go, and when it could take one more day, and when maybe it was infected with something. Like, there was a million different things that they were looking for. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, it made sense that they could
Yeah.
tell different colors, right?
Right.
That's why
Right.
men, it made sense that they were better with directions. Why? Because they were the ones who were wandering away from
Right.
camp looking for animals, and once they found one, they it was better for them to be able to walk straight
Right.
back.
And so, and that's, you said that perfectly. And I'm going to add to that. When women are like, literally, they go out and they gather and they come home and they unload their basket of the day of what they did and what they experienced.
Mm-hmm.
The men are listening for like two things. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
How can I fix it?
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem and how can I solve it? That's what they're listening for. They're not,
Yep.
they are solution oriented,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Absolutely.
and women don't necessarily have a problem that they want the man to fix.
Mm-hmm.
They just want the man to listen. They just want him to listen, and he's listening for what the problem is and how to fix it. So just even in a regular everyday conversation, and we're not even talking about lovers. It could just be a coworker. Could just be an uncle or a friend or a father. The father's like, all right, what's the problem? How can I fix it? And she's like, oh no, I just need you to listen. Which is why when women get together, they just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Because women are not necessarily listening for a problem unless it's a situation where, girl, I got this problem. Let me talk to you about this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she's going to be listening for that problem.
Mm-hmm. Of
So,
course.
but yeah, Allison Armstrong is the bomb, the bomb. Like everything she said. Even there was this one video I saw, and she's like, "We're like the communicators," and she said, "It's like when we get upset, when we get really, really upset." It's almost like, and I'm really doing a disservice. I have to find that video and send you the link. But it's almost like there's like this frog in our throat and we literally are paralyzed and can't say anything. We can't even, like, our vocal cords are like cut off and we're about to like start crying, but it's right before you start crying, like a traumatic cry or whatever, like you're really, really, really upset, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
the communication is the first thing to go. And she kind
Mm-hmm.
of describes it and she kind of walks you through it. I'm like, oh my God, I know exactly what she's talking about. I have a lot of those moments when I'm watching her videos.
Mm.
Yeah, she's the
Okay.
bomb. She's the bomb.
If I could say one thing, because I've actually helped a lot of men through exactly the issue we just talked about, because it's actually a very simple solution. And it's about men being able to retrain their brains to understand or define the word problem slightly differently. So when you hear her, she comes home from work, and whatever you think what she's looking for is a solution to the problem she had at work. No, by the look on her face, she's upset. So, and then she starts talking, and she's talking and talking, and you know that trying to solve the problem at work is not going to be the right thing to do. And you're just going to hear about it tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and she can get upset, whatever it is. It's because, what is the problem? I'm feeling unheard, undervalued, underappreciated. Okay, how do you fix that problem? You need to hear her. Listening isn't always passive. This is actually, in this case, it's going to take a little bit of active listening, which is actually you putting in an effort. And then, well, what do you need to do? Yes, you need to go, and right, but you need to collect, what is the issue? The issue is some person's a bitch, okay, or whatever it is, or some person screwed them over, or whatever. So, what do you need to do? Once she's done telling you, you need to go, man, that sucks. Remember, she feels under supported, undervalued, underappreciated. How do you show her that you value and appreciate her? Because now you showed her that you're listening, right? That solved one problem. How do you show her the rest? You go, what are you going to do to resolve the problem? And you let her speak more. And see, now this is something that they can do. It's learning a valuable skill in trade, just like they learn any other trade, because they are solving a problem. They're solving a very valuable problem to their homestead. And the first time I taught a guy this on YouTube, I remember he came back almost like skipping, man. He was so excited. Oh my God, I've had this problem for months with my wife and it worked. I can't believe it worked. It worked. It was so good. Yep. And because he tried it. And the first time he did it, he came home. His wife came home the next day. He said, how did that work out? She told him. He said, good job, babe. And that was it. And he's like, it's been months, right? It's not a hard thing. You just teach them. Men work really well with rules. They work really well with understanding what the
Structure.
problem is and how to solve it. So if you give them um kind of like a template that they can put on everything, they apply it and it will work, then they're like, oh, I'm suddenly so much less frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
And women don't like to boil themselves down to being that basic. So they don't want to break it down that way, but I'm going to tell you honestly, that's all it really takes. And for the men who are listening, because there are men who are listening, I honestly advise, you got a woman at home, try it instead of doing the thing you normally do that always ends in frustration. for everybody, try this because it is going to be, it works with your brain. So if you do that and it works, you'll be able to continue applying this forever. You don't have to act like something different. You don't have to try to be a woman. You don't have to try to be in girl talk and whatever. You can literally use your actual skill set and tools to do this and be successful at it.
Mm-hmm. Two things I want to say. Esther Perel is another phenomenal woman. I can't remember what country she's from. I don't know if she's Danish or no, she's Polish. I think she's Polish. Her parents were like the only survivors in their family during the Holocaust, in the concentration camps and everything. And so her name is Esther Perel, Perel. She is phenomenal when it comes to actual relationships with men and women and monogamy versus, you know, polygamy or polyandry and, you know, desire and, you know, like just like everything I've seen of hers is also phenomenal. She's really, really good at what she does. The second thing, kind of, and this is kind of like going back to what you were saying as to why you eat the ketchup chips. There was something else I wanted to say about that, and looking up these women, there was something else that that reminded me that I wanted to double back to that. So you can get your sodium through more healthy ways instead of potato chips. You can use either Celtic salt or pink Himalayan sea salt, or you can eat seaweed. Sprinkle it in whatever it is you eat or drink.
Seaweed. Okay.
Yeah, seaweed. I mean, it's a sea vegetable, so it's naturally got the natural minerals in it, and it's got it. So it's fishy and it smells and tastes salty because it's from the sea.
Huh. You know, I never thought of that. Sushi, coincidentally, is one of, really weird because but sushi is one of the few things that I can eat during the day without getting sick. And I've always thought it had to do just with the fact that the sushi that I choose specifically and that I can eat, that's like the smoked salmon and avocado and Philadelphia cream cheese. I know cheese, but hey, listen, I admit it in advance, or just the smoked salmon and avocado. And I figured, you know, between the fats and the protein and whatever, but now we added that element of the seaweed, and I'm like, well, there's the salt in there, and you know, I need that salt. If I don't, I literally, like, my blood pressure is very low, and I didn't even realize. And there was a lady I was speaking to. She's a YouTuber here as well, and she was having issues. She's in the hospital and stuff like that. Come to find out, it was low blood pressure. And they told her the same thing that they had told me, which is you need to eat more salt. Like, I don't care, put it on cucumbers, like you just find salt and load it on things and eat it, because you clearly don't eat enough salt. And this is going to help. And I was like, that's crazy. Why would I need to eat salt? I've never eaten a diet high in salt, but it makes a big difference. So to have different options, like I have the pink sea salt. That's what I like. Even, well, I don't really cook with salt almost at all. I just allow like natural salts, and I try to add foods with natural salts and stuff in there. But if I do use salt, it's the pink salt, Himalayan salt. But yeah, to know I can add the seaweed, and I'm like, that would be something, for example, that probably would go really well, say, in a Caesar salad dressing, which I make a faux one because I'm allergic to eggs. But yeah, because, you know, there's already anchovy paste. So anything that you would put an anchovy in, you could probably use seaweed in instead and kind of get a similar flavor profile to it.
So the Celtic salt has the most minerals out of all of the salts, and then the Himalayan salt, and then the sea salt, and then you have the table salt.
But then the Celtic salt is like really expensive, isn't it? I feel like it's really expensive.
At Whole Foods, they have a bag, like a blue bag, and I think it was like $7, but it lasted me like 6 months. So the thing with Celtic salt is you don't need as much. For some reason, when I season my food, I usually season my food at the end of the cooking portion of it. Like after I turn the heat off is when I season it, because otherwise you'll just like keep putting it in. It's like, where'd the seasoning go? I need a lot less salt when I use Celtic salt.
Oh, okay, okay, that makes
So look
sense.
into that. And if you have a Trader Joe's where near you, they
Mm-mm.
sell seaweed.
It does not exist here.
Okay.
But maybe I'm thinking maybe Whole Foods does,
Whole
cause
Foods may have it, yeah. So you
yeah.
can actually get some nori or wakame or kombu. Some of it might be dehydrated, so you may have to just like reconstitute it by letting it soak in some water, depending on which type of seaweed you have. Just like we have spinach, kale, chard, there are different types of seaweed. And so they have to. A lot of them have to be dry. Spirulina also is good. Is a seaweed that's been powdered, and it's actually a complete protein. It's a very good thing for you to have. I put that in all my smoothies. Um,
Really? I thought spirulina had. I know maybe I'm crazy, but I thought spirulina had gluten in it. But no, I thought it
I
was type of like wheat. Like I don't know.
Spirulina comes from the sea.
Huh?
Spirulina is in the same category as the nori and the wakame in terms of like where it comes from.
Okay.
If there's any
Huh?
gluten, it's because of the processing facility or something. But naturally, I don't believe so. No.
Right. Okay. So maybe that is like I'm trying to figure out why I would think that because as soon as you said it, I'm like, wait, what? I thought that was a gluten thing. But okay, no, that's awesome because I've seen spirulina pasta before at Whole Foods,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't get it because I was like, oh yeah, spirulina is gluten. So
Hmm.
okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you get the seaweed, I'm not sure like what you can eat. I know you did say sushi, but seaweed can go in salads. It can go in soups. It can go in most dishes that you would normally put salt in.
Right. Right. Okay.
So you can use that as the salt.
Oh, that is awesome. That is really good because I'm like, and I know I'm pretty sure seaweed has a lot of benefits. I was just speaking to someone about that. Oh, my brother-in-law. Yeah, he was just telling me all this stuff about seaweed, and it has like so many great benefits to it. And but the seaweed that is in Japan is different than the seaweed here. Like they don't sit there like when they're making sushi, they don't sit there and dry it out and it's a piece of paper. It's like fresh, like they literally grow it and so it's like fresh and like, it's not dried and
Right.
it's like this softer thing and I'm like, "Oh, like I
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that they had to dry it to use it."
Well,
So,
they probably dry it for transporting.
good point.
Yeah. And for preservation.
Good point. If we have time, Shar, I would like to sneak in one more question that was asked of me to ask.
Go
Um,
ahead.
okay,
All right.
so now she has an issue with heartburn, and she said she cut out literally any and all foods that could cause heartburn, and yet she still has the gastroesophageal reflux,
Mm-hmm.
um, right? And like she'll feel it, it wakes her up at night. She'll like be choking or coughing as a result of it. And they have her on the same proton pump inhibitor I'm on. So actually, I'm kind of interested in this question too. Now, she just got pregnant, just found out she was pregnant, and that means she has to go off of that medication because it's not safe to be taking during pregnancy. I'm not sure why, but it's not. So she doesn't know what to take. Then if you're not taking medications for this, it's just going to be horrible. So she wants to know if there's any natural foods she can be taking that are safe for pregnancy to kind of help with something like the heartburn and the gastroesophageal reflux type stuff.
So I'm gonna start by saying the grain brain talks about no, not the is it the grain brain? No, it's the second brain. I'm sorry. The second
The
brain
second
talks
brain.
about this. And
Okay.
the reason why we feel that heartburn is because some of the hydrochloric acid from the stomach comes up into the esophagus, and when that comes up, there's that burn feeling. And of course, we don't want that burn feeling. We don't want hydrochloric acid is like that could burn a hole in anything, and it's in our stomach. And so he says in this book that those medications that are prescribed for people for heartburn actually are not good anyway. I can't remember because again, it's like this really high level, heavy scientific explanation of like how the gut works, and basically he's saying that the beginning of the top of the esophagus is literally the opposite end of, so like you have the top of the esophagus and the end of the esophagus is actually the anus. So when you think about it that way, the top of, so it's like this long tunnel. It's not a straight tunnel, but it's a long tunnel. And the intestines are like there in the middle of the two. Um, I would say that she should probably stay away from fried foods. I would say that she should stay away from highly refined foods. I would say
Hmm.
that she should um, make sure that she doesn't eat right before she goes to lay down. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that she should probably cut back on sugar.
Mm-hmm.
But that second brain, if you can recommend that book to her, there's a
Hmm.
and she and I don't think she should necessarily read the entire book. That would be great, but specifically for this issue, there's a chapter where he talks about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, that'll be good. So she said something about the sphincter. This is the thing that keeps things closed and not able to back up, and there's something wrong with hers.
yep.
Um,
He
I
talks
wrote
about that.
down. Oh, okay, that's awesome because I'm like, I should have written that part down because I wrote everyone's questions out so I wouldn't have to go looking for them. And I didn't write that down, but I remember she said, yeah, there's something wrong with the sphincter itself, so
Mm-hmm.
it won't like stay closed or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So okay, this book actually talks about that too. Okay,
Yep.
I'm going to be recommending this to a lot of people because some of these questions are actually repetitive ones. That is to say, I got it from more than one person. So it tells you a lot of people are suffering from
Mm.
similar things in this Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, yeah. That book talks a lot of it. There's a chapter. It's about not quite halfway. I don't know because again, I'm listening to it, so I'm not reading it. So it's maybe like the second, third, fourth chapter where he talks about that.
Amazing. I will. Like I said, I might as well already own it. Like I would be ordering it online, except it takes too long to come. I'm gonna go to a bookstore
Yeah.
tomorrow because that's amazing. Thank
Hmm.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't mean to take up so much time.
Take up so
No,
much time. It just
not at all.
we showed
It's
up for
just
you.
it's hey, it's just the three of us here. Hey, we're having a good time, having a conversation. No problem.
Okay.
It
Hmm.
worked out.
Right. I'm
Yeah, I
happy
didn't.
you were available all this time.
Yeah, yeah. I'm usually, and it's interesting because I'm an avid salsa dancer, and I haven't gone salsa dancing in, I don't know, 10. It's almost been a year since I've been salsa dancing, and I'm kind of sad about that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go salsa dancing tonight. And I was like, let me check my calendar. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm not going tonight. I got to interview. I'm gonna be on live with Shar and Ruby.
Aw, thank
So
you.
so I might go tomorrow. Well, no, no, no. I mean, it was an easy choice to make because I'm usually tired anyway. Like by the time it's like 8 o'clock, I'm like, I ain't going nowhere. I make plans at like noon. I'm like, oh yeah, girl, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. And it's like 8 o'clock, and I sit down on the edge of my bed. I'm like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I ain't going nowhere.
Well,
You know?
you go tomorrow and you have a great time. And hey, post a picture, put that on
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah. Actually, I want to try to get somebody to do to record a video. I do it every once in a while I record myself dancing so people can see.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
salsa. I haven't done it in a long time because it was really a little bit too fast for me.
Mm.
I'm trying to think what happened. Something was going on. My calves were too tight, or I don't remember. But anyway, I love it. I used to take some classes, and like I said, it just got a little bit too fast for me, and I stopped
Mm.
doing it. But I love it.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's like a second language.
Oh,
Yeah,
excuse
it's
me.
really cool. Well, yeah, it is cool.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
these
like
are all the languages of love over here. These
yeah,
salsa, merengue, and everything. You're like they're the languages of
bachata,
love.
cumbia.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bilingual in Spanish, so I love the music anyway. Even I don't even have to dance, even though I'm a natural dancer. I have a great appreciation for the language and the culture.
Mm. I like
Oh,
Zumba. Does that count?
It kind of counts. That's how I started. Actually, I started in the fitness profession in the fitness industry as a Zumba instructor.
Oh, I love you. Like, I love no, seriously, every Zumba instructor on the planet is amazing. Like, I don't know, it's like Zumba just makes you a happier, better person or
It's
something.
true. It's true. It is like I cut my hair off. I bought all the Zumba gear. I was just like I was always practicing my choreography. I was just like always ready. I would bust out with Zumba anywhere.
Oh yeah, like that song that's like one, two, three, four, unos,
dun,
dos,
dun, dun,
tres,
dun, dun,
cuatro.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Every time that song comes out, I still remember my Zumba choreography. I remember me and my friend, we used to take it together, right? So it would like come on the radio. We'd park up in a parking lot and then blast it, and we would do the choreography to it. I swear to God, we really did that. Like we'll be in the grocery store walking. Oh, time for the choreography. One, two, and we just start hopping around, and everyone's looking at us like we're crazy, right? Because it's not like we're actually good at this at all, but in our heads we're superstars, right?
Right.
So
It's kind of like you're like the bomb singer in your shower, but once you get to karaoke or other people in
yeah,
the room, it's like you didn't really
Yeah.
hit that note that well.
yes.
So,
All right, good people. Well, good night, DJ Music. He was saying good night to us, but it's
oh, good
time for
night.
us anyway to close. And I want to thank you again for coming, Amadi. Appreciate it. And
Oh, thanks for having
definitely,
me.
you are welcome. And I look forward to you coming back and having a good time with us again.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed myself again. You, Shar, thank you so much for supporting me and reaching out to me and asking me to come back on the show. Ruby, I appreciate you and all the questions you come with. I'm very just honored that you ask questions and you listen to my responses.
Oh yeah, I told everyone. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, guys, yeah. So no, this lady, she really knows her stuff, and they know me. I don't say that about anyone, including doctors. Like I'm not, I don't give that out easily because a lot of people don't, but you do. So I really appreciate you coming here and taking the time to answer the questions because your stuff is always really helpful and really gives a good place at least to start with some research to know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, yeah. So check out those two books. At least the Second Brain for your gastrointestinal issues.
Mm-hmm. Definitely gonna do that.
Yeah,
And
cool.
thank you, everyone in the chat room. I appreciate you all coming. And if you missed anything of the show, please check the playback because it's a lot of good information in this show. And
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow we'll be having a show at 7 p.m. Central. And come on by to be, we'll have a few articles that we'll be talking about. Because on Saturdays, that's how I started the show on Saturdays, and I would have a couple of articles, give some time for people to come in if they were interested. No ladies show, then I just end the stream, but I, start off for a little bit. But check us out. We're here Fridays and Saturday nights. And again, thank you, Amadi. And always thank you, Miss Classic Ruby. That's so classy. Appreciate you coming.
Teehee. Thank you for having me. As always, a pleasure.
And everyone else, I thank you and hope to see you guys tomorrow. And peace.
All right.
Peace.
Cheers, y'all.